Madang bus owners lose business. Educators question quality of school materials.
It's not suitable for.
And more money raised for Trukai Fun Run.
Where we've raised around 2 million in the last year.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thank you for joining me. This is Sunday's news. A group of stranded PMV operators from Madang have been living in Leh for 3 weeks now, following the collapse of 5 bridges linking the Ramu-Madang highway. They said they have recorded a loss in their daily incomes and want concerned authorities to look at fixing the roads. The only way that they make money is through transporting passengers from Leh to Dampu, the first collapsed bridge from the Ramu section of the highway.
Since the 10th of this month, PMV operators from Madang have been living in Leh City. During the day, it's business as usual, but when night falls, they sleep in their PMV buses.
Almost 3 weeks now.
Unlike before, where our crew makes up to 700 kina a day for transporting passengers from Leh to Madang, they now make around 300 kina for transporting passengers to Dumpu. From this 300 kina, half of the money is spent on operational cost for the bus, while some of it is spent on food and other necessities for the PMV crew.
Barangolo Dumpu, first bridge is transit lahat. So from there you get all car stop namel. Fopla bridge buru. You get all car stop namel, so me all cross all upside. All kalab gen all 1 kina mile, 2 kina mile car gen, golonarba bridge gen one kind. All transit you go. Negat all mereng bus gen sal upside last bridge, number 4 bridge asas. More go kalab lahat no direct to mereng.
The collapse of 5 bridges in Madang has affected education, communication and transport services, not only in villages along the Ramu-Madang highway, but also along sections of the Morobe and Madang provinces.
So milak tanim bek lo kambe gen lo tumpu tu em silakan bagarap em stop. Milak mo kona passengers na olman meri na ol travel em ol pili makat street lo. Travel one dem ol kago lo na ol pigini na silakan.
This comes as a change in the weather pattern, where more rain is experienced in some parts of the country, and it's causing rivers to burst their banks. Unconfirmed reports received from the Ramu police station states that at least 100 people were displaced following the recent floods in Madang. For the group that is stranded in Leh, they will continue to wait in Morobe until temporary bridges are built before they can return to Madang. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News, Leh.
Criminal investigators from the Leh Central Police Station say there is a shift in the ages of young boys involved in sexual offences. This is a direct result of younger children having access to pornographic materials either online or on the internet. They said most cases which are reported to the Sexual Offence Unit are committed by boys in lower primary schools.
According to criminal investigators at Leh Central Police Station Sexual Offence Unit, some of the sexual offence cases reported to them are committed by young boys. Michelle Sibong, a criminal investigator with the Sexual Offence Unit of Leh's Metropolitan Command, confirmed that they have dealt with cases of young boys sexually assaulting younger girls. She says sexual offence cases committed by young boys today has been the result of boys being exposed to pornographic sites on the internet.
Nowadays, some plenty cases where we practice him. The perpetrators are small boys who are 15, 14, 13 go down this land.
14 sexual offence cases get reported to Leh Police Station every month. A portion of these cases are committed by boys as young as 14 to 15 years old.
Now, when mobile phones were only picking school children, they go to the internet, they see this pornographic where now the newspaper will come up stuff, yeah. They go to they see those and to experience that also maybe make him all this where these little girls be victims of that again.
due to the link between the easy access to more pornographic materials by young boys and the increase in sexual offense by the same age group of boys. Parents are urged by criminal investigators to be more vigilant about their daughters' safety. Colleen Barilai, National EMTV News, Leh.
Leh's acting Metropolitan Superintendent, Chief Inspector Timothy Pomoso, says the Leh Metropolitan Command is a more difficult command to police compared to the National Capital District Metropolitan Command. Inspector Pomoso said Leh's geographical location places it in a more central location where criminals can easily escape into Madang or the Highlands provinces after an offence is committed. He said this makes it harder for criminals to be apprehended and many go unpunished.
Inspector Pomoso says because of road networks linking up rural Morobe, Madang and the Highlands region, policing Leh and nearby villages is a real challenge for its policemen.
We cannot effectively cover all areas at the same time in any one given time. There are some areas uncovered, some covered.
He said armed robbery and car theft are the two common cases in Leh, and despite limited logistic support, his policemen are doing their best to police the command. Inspector Pomoso said, unlike NCD, Leh has two commands, the Leh Metropolitan Command and the Morobe Provincial Police Command. Both are operating within Leh City. About 300 police officers are attached to the Leh Command, but Pomoso said 300 police officers is not enough to police all 23 wards in Leh.
The current population here in Leh is past 100,000. And the police just below about 300 below. So you can see the ratio there. With the difficulties we are facing in terms of resources, in terms of police manpower, in terms all these things contributing to the lack of policing capabilities we police encounter almost every day. So.
Apart from logistics and lack of manpower, Pomoso says accommodation for police officers has become an obstacle, and it is affecting police officers' performances while on duty. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News, Leh.
You're watching Sunday's News. I'll be back with more local stories coming up after the break. Stay with us. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. The rollout of the tuition fee-free commodity component has raised more concerns from secondary schools this year. Chairman of the Catholic School Principals Conference, Hilary Suwamba, says the curriculum materials are still under quality and is not suitable for upper secondary education.
Towards the end of last year's academic year, the PNG Teachers Association questioned the quality of the TFF commodity component. The association claimed the materials of the component were not fit to improve the quality of education in the country. Concerns are now raised by the Catholic Principals Conference. Chairman Hilary Suwamba says they want that arrangement to be abolished and funds given direct to schools to purchase their own curriculum materials.
Current arrangement so far, the items supplied is what elementary and primary schools can use. And the value would just be about 30 kina. And it's not suitable for high school and secondary schools.
However, Education Secretary Dr. Michael Tapo says the component is still in its trial period. He says after the trial, an evaluation will be made upon the results and changes will be made accordingly.
We will make sure that this evidence that we got on the commodity component and how good it is or how poor it is will be addressed once and for all, because we're getting those feedback, and we will now put into develop a policy that will now once and for all address a better way of delivering, monitoring, supervising and reporting on the commodity component, let alone the standards of resources that we provide. If they are not good enough, we need to provide it so that quality that people complain about will now be assured.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Parents must be more responsible. The Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, said this while encouraging Papua New Guineans to have children by choice and not by chance. He was speaking during the launch of the tuition fee-free commodity component at Chambri Lake Primary School in the Wasaragawi electorate of the East Sepik Province.
The Prime Minister says while parents make sure their children are well fed, clothed and looked after, they need to prioritize family planning as well.
So appeal from me local community in a plan of family social. Karem or picking in Ablo you may look at him. Suppose you may not look at him, plan the picking in or plan the picking in, you may go hungry. I mean a good person. So you must controlling population.
The population of PNG has doubled in the last 2 decades and currently stands at over 7.5 million people. Infrastructures like water supply, electricity, sanitation and the sewage systems in urban centers are not built to cater for this rapid population growth. Hospitals and health centers need new infrastructures, and the need for doctors and nurses to complement the population is far below the United Nations standard ratio. Despite free education, which saw the increase in students' population, there are still issues of retaining students in the formal education system.
All parent beginning may come out of grade 12. 30% all participations are long university, technical university, all tertiary institution, but 70% all step outside.
The National Identification Project, which aims to register all citizens, will help government to better plan and finance development priorities accordingly.
The money introduction ID system. Bro, you may look at him all, count him on number, bro, citizen inside the country, bro, you may.
The Prime Minister says PNG has been recognized internationally in hosting international events such as Pacific Games, the Apex Summit in 2018 and the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup Soccer Qualifier next year, and expects Papua New Guineans to be more responsible. Quintan Alomp, National EMTV News.
And in breaking news, just in, a man was arrested by police while smuggling live ammunition on board an Air Niugini flight this afternoon. The 27-year-old is identified by police as Thomas Agoma from Tari in the Southern Highlands province. MTV's Quintan Alomp with more details on this breaking report.
6 Mile police who arrested the ammunition smuggler says the man was already inside the Air Niugini plane when security alerted them. Senior Constable Noki Minimbi says 27-year-old Thomas Agoma was boarding the flight from Port Moresby to Southern Highlands when he was arrested.
I'm going to sit down. I'm checking finish. I'm going to sit down. All cargo loaders. I'm all looking most. Something step inside. So all talking security and security go all in Manila balus.
A total of 170 live bullets for AR-15 rifle and 20 shotgun bullets were confiscated. The bullets were hidden inside the small boxes with security check labels already on them. Senior Constable Minimbi says police will investigate how the man managed to take the bullets past the scanners and security guards. The man is now behind bars, charged with illegally smuggling ammunition under the Firearms Act. The police have warned ammunition smugglers not to do so because the law will come down hard on them. Quintan Alomp, National EMTV News.
Kaliwe Primary School in Yalibu Pangia District in Southern Highlands Province has been operating with few infrastructures for a long time now. A local contractor has built a permanent classroom for the school at their own expense. Recently, their local MP and Prime Minister Peter O'Neill gave an additional 600,000 kina to Kaliwe Primary and neighbouring Poloko Primary Schools to build more permanent buildings.
Yalibu Pangia MP Peter O'Neill and Fisheries Minister Mao Zeming recently visited Kaliwe Primary School for the opening of the new classroom. Under the District Services Improvement Program Fund, or DSIP, Mr. O'Neill presented 250,000 kina to Kaliwe Primary to build more permanent classrooms and teachers' houses. The school currently have 325 students and only 6 teachers. In addition, Minister Zeming gave 100,000 kina to the school. Poloko Primary School has also received 250,000 kina under the DSIP funds to improve their learning facilities. Lead researcher in the National Research Institute, Dr. Arnold Kukari, said the government's free education policy has paved way for an increase in the enrollment of students each year. In terms of achieving universal basic education, this has ensured that there is an increase in the number of girls attending schools. However, Dr. Kukari said the question still remains on the quality of education. Schools are facing similar problems of overcrowding and the number of teachers are outnumbered by students. This has made schools to continue to find ways of raising additional funds.
We see that a lot of students are unable to read and write. Grade 8 exam results have shown that nearly all students have performed poorly, many of them below the midpoint.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has announced that he had secured funding from the DSIP funds to resolve issues caused by tuition fee-free policy. Meanwhile, he engaged a solar company to provide free, safe electricity, initially for schools and teachers' houses in his electorate. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Pangu Party has announced its candidate for the Pomio by-elections. Hailing from Kilalum village in Pomio, Leo Katal brings with him a great wealth of experience in both the private and public sectors. The Pomio seat was left vacant following the conviction and jailing of Paul Tiensin last year.
Pangu Party executives led by party leader and deputy opposition leader Sam Basil and General Secretary Maurice Thovebai welcomed their candidate. Mr. Basil was grateful as it was unusual for candidates to choose a party in the opposition.
Currently now leading political parties that have a very questionable background in terms of being referred or being criminally charged, they have to make their choice now to choose a corrupt government or choose a government that will come into play before the 2017 to get rid of all these corrupt practices.
Me by looking more people block Pomio in a very short period of time by me play start, me to play leader by start one time also. Already and by me play can me walk about one time candidate.
Pangu Party believes in their candidate to deliver in a remote, isolated district of Pomio. The 42-year-old candidate says he chose Pangu Party as he believes in effective service delivery, such as demonstrated by the party leader.
One time more intellects me, we join hands together and we develop Pomio.
Pangu Party leader Sam Basil says all party members are expected to deliver. This is further enforced by an agreement which they will all sign to ensure effective performance of service delivery.
Go out. In Pangu Party, we will make sure that our candidates, should they win the elections, will not become statistics. We will ensure that they will deliver from day one until election day and the voters will speak for themselves.
Meanwhile, the PNG Electoral Commission says polling will run from May 9 to the 22nd, with the return of writs before Friday, June 11th. The Electoral Commission has allocated 3.6 million kina for the Pomio by-election. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
And National EMTV News continues with Trukai Sports. That's coming up after the break, so don't go away. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Now, Trukai Industries has always been a strong supporter for sports in Papua New Guinea. Following the late Trukai Fun Run auction, where an impressive 322,000 kina was raised, another 258,000 kina was raised in a similar event in Port Moresby.
The private business community, government sector and partners attended the annual Trukai Fun Run auction yesterday evening at the Royal Papua Yacht Club. This year, the Trukai Fun Run will be included as one of the events at the 2015 Port Moresby Pacific Games.
This year is an exciting year for the Fun Run for three reasons. Firstly,